Right, guys, so conversion of units. So I'm not going to go through much because I'm sure that you've done converting units before. So let's just go through the main things, which is, what do we have units for? So if I said length, area, volume, anything else? Speed, okay. I'm thinking of mass, yeah. We've got capacity. We've got two types of units really that we're aware of, which would be metric and imperial. Do you know the difference?
Imperial is the European one. Yeah, and the Americans use metric, right? No?
So, like, the metric units came kind of later, and it was a way of standardizing. Because there was a point, I think I showed you a video, where people used different measurements depending on where they were. So I think, do you remember watching something about there was a big fire in America? And it was like burning a major city down. And the fire crews all had different standardized, like different sized pipes. So the fire crews from an outside city would come, but they couldn't connect to the water supply, so they just kind of couldn't do anything, couldn't help, right? And that was the trouble with imperial units. Do you know what the word imperial kind of relates to? Yeah, that kind of thing. Like,
it would be like whatever the king size.
Yeah, exactly. That's where feet and inches and things like that came from. So the actual metric came from more of a scientific background. So you might also see, I think it's SI units. Anyone know what SI stands for? No? It's a Système International. International system, as in French, right? So it was a French guy that started looking at, right, how can we standardize? Can everyone use the same thing? So he went and standardized using a distance on the planet from the North Pole around to some other place. It was in the video. And he then broke that up into a set number, and that became the meter. And then he tried to get everyone to use the meter. And he was relatively successful, but there were certain groups like the British Empire stuck with their, empirical units. Imperial? I don't know. It's the Americans, why does America tend to use the imperial stuff? Because a lot of the people that founded, America came from Britain and Ireland and that kind of thing, yeah? And they didn't buy into the change. So that's why we have some slight difference. I know Britain has a mixture of the two times, right? So it's both used, but so we've got two types that we need to be aware of, but the actual converting of units, what do we mean by conversion of units? Can I convert a length unit into an area unit? No. Because it means something different, right? It's a different thing. Can I do volume into speed? No, they're measuring different things. So when we say conversion of units, what we mean is...
Centimeters.
Yeah, so we've already talked about this. This links very nicely into our old topic, the previous topic. Why might I want to convert meters to centimeters, for instance?
It depends on
Accuracy, yeah? Right? I increase my accuracy to eliminate or reduce the error. Yeah. So we have these different units for the same measurement, length, all right, because we want to increase our accuracy or we need to decrease our accuracy, all right? So that's the thing. So what are the units of length do we know of? So we'll start with kilometers to meters, centimeters, millimeters. Okay, there are others, right? What's the great thing about metric? To convert between metric, it's always base 10. All right? So you know how many millimeters are there in 1 centimeter? 10. How many centimeters make a meter? 100. How many meters make a kilometer? Kilometer? 1,000. 10, 100, 1,000. Yeah? So this is what we do. But sometimes people get confused, which is, if there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, how do you convert centimeters into millimeters? Yeah, so you got confused, didn't you?
How do you convert centimeters?
Into millimeters.
Oh, multiply by 10.
Multiply by 10, so don't get it the wrong way round. So we draw this little table that says there are 10 millimeters make a centimetre, then we need 100 of them to make a metre, then we need 1,000 of them to make a kilometre. But when we want to convert...
So if you have 1, you multiply by 1,000 to get, so like 1 kilometre.
Yeah, so people would go, but, you know, kilometres is bigger, so you divide by... What? That doesn't make an awful lot of sense. But we need to know how many of them go into one of these. And we should make sense that if I have 1 kilometre, people think, oh, well, then you multiply because I'm getting to a bigger unit, meters to kilometres. If I've got 1 metre, that's 1,000 kilometres because kilometres are bigger, right? But it's not, is it? Because the converting units is about representing the same thing using a more accuracy. Does that make sense? All right, so we've got length. What are the units of area?
Centimeters squared,
So same idea, but squared. So square everything. Now, how many square millimeters make a square centimeter? 100. Or 10 squared multiplied by 100 squared multiplied by 1,000 squared. Yeah? Try metric, so easy. Volume, cubic millimeters, cubic centimeters, cubic meters, cubic kilometers. How do we work out? Times 10 cubed. Multiplied by 10, 100 cubed. Multiplied by 1,000 cubed. Okay? What about, I'm not going to worry about speed because speed is actually a combination of 2 units of measurement, isn't it? Length and time, yeah? Mass, though. You know, units of mass, metric. Grams and kilograms, yeah? Well, potentially, yeah. We've got, yeah, milligrams.
milligrams.
How many grams make 1 kilogram? Yeah, 1,000. Because the K for kilo, kilogram, kilometer means 1,000. Kilo means 1,000. But how many milligrams make a gram? How many millimeters make a meter? Sorry, I should do it here. How many millimeters makes 1 meter? 1,000. So we don't use the ones in between, do we? So what would be a missing one here? We could say a centigram, but we never see it, do we? We just have milligrams, grams, kilograms. Why do you think? Why do you think we don't bother with a centigram?
It's never really neat.
It's not really needed, is it? We have grams to measure things out. And then when we get enough grams, big packets of stuff, we have a kilogram. Yeah? Why milligrams? Well, we don't tend to use milligrams in cookery and bakery and stuff, do we? Where do we have milligrams? Science, and things like that, yeah, medical stuff, milligrams. So, again, it's a useful measure of accuracy. By the way, so we've got milli. Milli means 1,000 of a meter. Centi means 100, yeah. And you've seen that before in money. We have dollars and cents, same idea. And we've got kilo, so everything is based around this one unit, the meter, right? With grams, we've got milligrams or we've got kilograms, right? There is a one that's slightly different, but capacity. Do you know what capacity would be?
Isn't that basically volume? Because
Yeah, it's liquid volume. So you can still do capacity in cubic centimeters, all right? But we also have, what ones do you see with volume on the sides of bottles of drink and stuff like that? See, that's not metric. We have liters, yeah? We have milliliters. How many milliliters do you think there are in a litre? 1,000, yeah? Do we have anything other than litres?
kilometers.
We just have litres and...
Yeah, because it's gallons.
No, exactly, but that's the thing. So we've got our metric, we've got litres and millilitres. There are actually centilitres and decilitres, if you've seen... but where would that go? So it'd be centilitres and decilitres. You've seen that in drinks, because in bars and stuff, they like to be able to give you slightly bigger drinks each time. Yeah. So they're metric ones. But can you see the nice kind of pattern with metric?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and easy, right? But what you have to do is think, am I going from a smaller unit to a larger one? And the big thing is, we're not getting, when we convert units, like you've already told me, we're increasing the accuracy. We're not changing any values. Any ideas about the imperial units? Okay, so length. Do you know what the longest one we might have? Miles? Yards? Feet? Inches. Yeah? And then when we go smaller than inches, we have fractions of an inch, like an eighth of an inch or a 16th of an inch or that kind of stuff. Area? Yeah, square miles, square yards, square feet, square inches, and so on. Volume? Yeah, same idea as cubed. Are there any others, though, that we've kind of not mentioned? So we say cubic feet, that's what it used more. Cubed, cubic. See, that's the thing, volume, do we really have cubic kilometers or cubic miles? Do you think that's ever relevant?
Well, it could be like a country or something. Measuring a country. No? Or
Country, we tend to have area, don't we? A square kilometre.
volume.
Making
Sorry.
man-made lake.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thinking about what about the volume of a particular part of the ocean or something. You could have cubic kilometres or potentially, but again, the space, airspace that a plane's allowed to fly. What's our exclusion zone? There are other ones, and to be honest, I'm not too sure whether they're metric or imperial. You ever heard of hectares?
Yeah.
So a lot of horsey people and farmers and that will have hectares and acres
Yeah.
and things like that.
They might be
Like,
their own.
I think acres
Acre
is
and
imperial.
Hectare.
Hectare is I think might actually be metric, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not, to be honest, they're ones to look up. Hectares, and it'll probably be in the book actually. But any idea about, so metric was lovely and simple, time multiplied by 10, 100,000. Do you know how many inches makes 1 foot?
12.
12 inches, yeah. How many feet make a yard? How many yards make a mile? I did remember this number. It's on those cards. I think it's like 1,760. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that it? Is that the number?
I don't know. It's something like that.
I can just.
Well, exactly. Why is it like? But it's because, like you said, how did we get miles and yards and things back in the day? Yeah. And it changed every time there was a new king or queen.
Because they wanted their feet.
Yeah, they wanted it to be related to them.
Yeah.
It's how long their finger up my computer. I wonder whether. So, let's see, yards in a mile. 1,000. Oh, I was right. There you go. Nicely remembered, I think, on my part. All right. So, but can you imagine, for instance, I think it's quite easy to convert millimeters into kilometers. You just multiply by 10, multiply, you kind of know that, and the milli and centi and kilo help you. But what about these? Multiply by 12, multiply. So if I wanted to work out how many inches 1 mile was, I can do multiply by 10 in my head, multiply by 100 in my head, absolutely no problem. But if I had to multiply by 1,760, it'd take me a bit longer, right? So this is why the imperial stuff. What about that capacity that we've heard of? Yeah, so we've got ounces, cups, yeah, pints. I don't know, to be honest, I never. Quarts.
2 cups and a pint. There were 2 pints and 4.
Wow, she knows the stuff. Gallons. Is it? In America, you buy your milk and stuff in those sort of things. People confuse me when I went to buy paint and it's like you get a quart of paint. I'm talking about litres. All right. So there's a very different way. And what about the mass? So I think there's ounces again, and then there's pounds.
There's
Pounds and
16
ounces. 16. Yeah, so it's not even comparable between here, is there? Multiplied by 16 pounds.
Ton?
So yeah, I think actually in the UK, different to America as well. You stop at pounds, don't we? In the UK, we have stones.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Like,
I was reading
Yeah.
like some David Wong, and it said they weighed like 50 stone. Or no, not that.
Yeah, see, I know I'm about 13 stone. I have no idea what that means relative to anything else. I just know I'm 13.
They probably
Yeah.
picked up a stone and they're like, this is heavy,
Could
let's
be.
make that weight.
Yeah.
Let's make that a measurement of mass.
Well, the other thing, yeah, so did you know though, guys, there's a metric ton and an imperial ton, and they're different.
I know the Imperial ton is like 2,000 pounds.
So up here we should have above kilogram, there is also a ton as well. All right? And I'm thinking that we've probably got multiplied by 1,000. But I know the imperial ton is actually not the same as a metric ton.
2,000.
It's multiplied by 1.
No, it's not that much
It's
different. But
multiplied by 1 to make the metric. It's multiplied by 1,000.
I think it's 1,000. 1,000 kilograms. Right, so the idea then is we've just got to be able to convert between the units because we want to improve our accuracy. So if I want to measure something accurately, I would pick the appropriate measurement. Right? So, for instance, why would we want to convert? Well, let's say let's have a rectangle, and let's say this rectangle is a garden, and I measure 3.5 meters, and I do 6,000 centimeters. And if I wanted to know the area of this rectangle, what would we need to do? Okay, so we know that units must be consistent. So we convert into the same units. And it doesn't matter which one? No. So what would you prefer to do?
Meters.
Put it into meters. Okay. So what is 6,000 centimeters but in meters? Okay. We divide by 100 because we know that centimeters to meters is, there are 100 of them. So therefore, to convert, we divide by 100. That's where the confusion comes in. You don't multiply by 100 to convert, right? Because I don't want to change that length. I just want to know it in a different unit. So maybe, so how many divide by 100 and we get? 60 meters. Very narrow one though, isn't it? It's like maybe
It's like,
an alleyway.
yeah.
Maybe it's a driveway or something. All right, so we've converted. Units must be consistent. We've divided by 100. So the area would be 210
meters.
square meters. Why do I prefer square meters than meters squared? Because what is area? Area is the number of squares, right, that your space takes up. And those squares, right, would be of a particular measurement. So it is a square of a meter by 1 meter. That would be a square meter.
And then there's 210.
Whereas meters squared suggests I am actually squaring the number, which kind of means something different. So we should have square meters, but we use a squared symbol to represent it, right? Just like if we do volume, it's not meters cubed, although that's the maths we do, we would say it's a cubic meter, because we'd have a meter by meter by meter cube, all right? So let me ask you then, let's say actually I now want this measurement, okay, in centimetres.
Multiply the meters.
1,000.
I want it in square centimetres. What do we do? Yeah. So we could change this one into centimetre and redo it, but actually we want to be able to convert area this time. So what do? We divide or times.
Multiply.
So we multiply because we've got one big unit and we've got lots of small units to fit inside the same space. So we're going to multiply, and we're going to multiply by, well, meters to centimetres is 100, so we're going to do 100 squared. So we've got 210 multiplied by 100 squared. Okay, that's why it's so nice. The metric system is lovely.
So just answer how many.
Yeah, now we're intelligent enough to understand what we're actually doing by adding zeros. We can say add zeros. So we have 2.1 million square centimetres for that area. All right? And we do the same with all our units. It doesn't really matter what units, whether it's imperial, we just need to know the right numbers and then make sure. But this, guys, that is the thing that people get wrong. All right, so I'm going to put my little stamp. The squaring it is the thing that people do wrong. All right? They forget that and they just go, oh, it's centimetres to metres, multiplied by 100, and it's not. All right? And I bet I catch some people out in an assessment. All right, so that's it. That's all my talking done. So you've got probably that entire topic now, 7.2, you can just rattle through.